I'm Mai Salazar. Here are the latest stories. A legislator is urging the government to build pop-up vaccination sites to provide the public information and easy access to COVID-19 vaccines. Barangay Health Workers Representative Angelica Ko said this move would also help the elderly who cannot register online. As of May 15, 84,209 senior citizens have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, according to Vaccine Czar Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. In the meantime, outbound caregivers and other healthcare workers were called upon to postpone their departure to Israel amid high tensions there. Jillian Geronimo shares more details.
The Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, has suspended for a few days the departure of the 400 caregivers who were supposed to be deployed to Israel this May. In a statement, Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III said the temporary suspension is in place to ensure the workers' safety as tension is still high in Israel. Bello clarified that this move does not mean a complete ban on the deployment of workers to Israel. He said the processing of those who already qualified continues. Moreover, the labor chief said he is responsible for whatever may happen to workers should they be deployed to Israel despite increased tension in the said territory. With this, he appealed to caregivers and other health workers bound for Israel to postpone their departure to ensure their safety. There are an estimated 30,000 overseas Filipino workers in Israel. Israeli forces and Hamas fighters renewed their hostilities against each other earlier this month. For Golden Nation Network, this is Jillian Geronimo.
In other news, the Armed Forces of the Philippines has recorded 373 casualties in 289 incidents of intentional killings committed by communist terrorist groups from 2010 to 2020. The list of killings was submitted to the Commission on Human Rights for appropriate action. Denisa Fernandez has the full report.
A total of 373 individuals have died due to the intentional killing of communist terrorist groups, or CTG, from 2010 to 2020, according to the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP. Based on data collected by the AFP, of the casualties, 77 were soldiers while 296 were innocent civilians. The deaths were recorded in 289 incidents of intentional killings. The AFP submitted the list of killings to the Commission on Human Rights on Thursday for appropriate action. The AFP claimed that the killing incidents were committed against innocent civilians, assassinations of former CTG members, premeditated killings of military personnel, among others. AFP Center for Law of Armed Conflict, or CLOAC Director, Brigadier General Joel Alejandro Naknak said, and we quote, "These incidents show a nationwide pattern of organized, orchestrated, continuing, deliberate, and systematic scheme perpetrated by these violent extremist CTGs, which justifies their designation as a terrorist organization." End quote. Further, AFP Chief of Staff General Cirilito Sobejana commended the efforts of the CLOAC for their exposition. For Golden Nation Network, this is Denisa Fernandez.
We are your voice for change. We will keep on bringing updates and the latest stories. I'm Mai Salazar. Watch these stories on News Force.
Here are today's headlines. Religious gatherings at 30% capacity now allowed by Metro Manila mayors. Department of Finance eyes arrival of private-led vaccine imports next month. Anti-online sexual abuse and children exploitation bill passes Senate second reading. House Speaker hails deployment of nursing graduates to augment a medical workforce. Department of Education to propose several dates for school opening to President Duterte. United States lawmakers say success in Afghanistan depends on Afghans. Fair and balanced news, comprehensive reports that will take you to the heart of the action. This is News Force.